are in a valley close to the Mediterranean. This is totally a Mediterranean climate. Dry. With the climate change, we get less rain. Still, this is dry growing. There is no irrigation. Therefore, we depend on the weather. We have vintages with more rain, others drier. This determines our work in the vineyard. So we pass from 50 meters from sea level to the highest area, where we get to 190 meters from sea level. The climate varies a bit in those areas, but the climate in El Garraf and Penedès Central is pretty stable. It is a Mediterranean climate. Every afternoon we get the marinada, which is the breeze coming from the sea. These are optimal conditions for the growth of the wine. There are many small plots due to orography, as we have the mountains of Montserrat, but also due to cultural reasons. We have lots of small vineyards. Ourselves, we have 40 hectares of vineyards. Then we purchase grapes from other growers. They have the vineyards, and we try to convince the grower to grow the quality that we need. And we understand each other. We have a good understanding. For you to get an idea, the average size of the vineyards of our growers are smaller than 1 hectare.
It's easy to do ecological viticulture. Here we have the diffusers of sexual confusion to treat against grape moths. This was an invention that made people wonder how it worked. They told us that we just apply it and we wouldn't have to do other treatments. And this is what it's about, as it's a non-invasive technique. The only thing it does is to diminish the multiplication of the plague. We don't kill anyone, and we control a plague that was very important.
Moths and what other diseases? Do you have fungus? I assume here there is low disease pressure.
As I said, the vine is safe here. We have the mildews from the pruning, moths, and basically nothing else. In the oldest vines, we do have wood diseases, but that is something you cannot do anything about.
Each variety has its own vegetative cycle and needs its proper soil and microclimate. For example, Macabeo, which in our case is 40% of our coupage and we like a lot, is a grape with very thin skin and very tight clusters prone to botrytis if in rich soils, and we need to control the yields very well. Sometimes we abuse of the term old vines. It is as in Spain we directly plant old vines. But it's true that old vines give you less production, and for some varieties it is very interesting, as for example Macabeo. It provides finesse structure. It does not lead to high alcohol, 10.5 to 11 ABV, moderate acidity. It is a perfect skeleton for a coupage of Cava. Then we have Xarel·lo. This is the Superman grape, providing body, structure and alcoholic graduation. It leads to very powerful still white wines. It's spectacular. And for the coupage for Cava provides body and structure. Then we have Parellada, which has been historically grown in the mountains. Our ancestors were smart. We grow Parellada here. It produces huge clusters that are just water with sugar. It would not give you anything. We look for that aspect that is more aromatic, more fruity, tropical, banana. And it gives still wines of maximum 9 ABV, but its acidity is important, leading to fresh wines. The beauty of Cava is that we use the coupage. A young Cava is not the same as one of crianza. If you look for Cavas with more primary aromas, fruit, then you use more Parellada. A large Reserva has more complexity with secondary and tertiary aromas. It gives aromas of pastry, but not primary aromas. Then we will use more Macabeo and Xarel·lo in the coupage, and not so much Parellada. That's the beauty of playing with the 3 varieties of grapes that we have. In this winery, we vinify our wines. We vinify absolutely all our wines. We never buy wine from outside. All the wine is elaborated in the property. We wanted personality in our wines. I am talking about terroir, about climate, about soils. But also important is how to ferment. We can let it ferment by itself. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes very bad. In the skin of the grape, you can find 70 different species of yeast. With different yeast strains, you will find good ones and bad ones. What we did was to select the best yeasts from our most representative vineyards. Then we have yeast for Macabeo, yeast for Xarel·lo, and yeast for Parellada. This will give more character to our wines, in a way that Macabeo tastes like Macabeo, Xarel·lo like Xarel·lo, and Parellada as Parellada.